Assessment planning. In the previous section, we looked at the assessment process, the sixth step of the assessment process. Now, this section, the planning of assessment, focuses on step one of that assessment process. The assessment process in step one says that we should plan the purpose and we must determine what the need of the assessment is. So what we're going to use the formula, if we can use it like that, to plan this assessment, we call the 5 bums on the bench. So if you can maybe use a bit of uh, creativeness, then you can see maybe what the bums refer to, but maybe that is a way to help you remember the aspects that we need to remember for this specific formula. So the formula of the 5 bums on the bench refers to 5 W's and 1 H. So the first W that we are using is the who. Who are the role players and what are their responsibilities? Here we talk not only about the teacher and the learners, but also the parents at home or maybe the school. So whoever is responsible for any any role players in the assessment process, we need to consider them and make sure that they are all in line and all on knowing what's going on in the process. The second one is the why. Why is the assessment being conducted? What is the purpose of the assessment? That will be determined by maybe if it's a term test, summative assessment, is it a formative assessment? Are you doing the assessment to learn whether the student is on par with the work? Do they understand it, or is it a end of the year test or summative assessment? So you must decide on the purpose then of the assessment. You also need to find out or think about what is actually being assessed. What is the assessment criteria and what evidence is required? So this will be determined by the outcome. The outcome of the lesson will determine, or the outcome of the theme or the chapter will determine exactly what will be assessed. We then also look at the how. How will the assessment take place? This will focus on the different assessment methods. Is it some kind of practical task, or is it a written test? Is it a maybe some kind of speech that the learner should read, or a experiment that they should conduct? So that is the how the task will be, the assessment will take place. And then we have another W, which is the where. Where will this assessment take place? Is it inside the classroom? Will it be maybe outside if it's some kind of live orientation lesson, or that they need to do it outside or collect some samples outside? So what is the context and where exactly the assessment will take place? And then the last one is also the when. When exactly will it take place? Will it be early in the morning, late in the afternoon? We must always remember that, especially for younger learners, the time of the assessment is actually important. If a learner is tired by the end of the day and they now need to write an exam, you might not get the same results than doing it earlier in the morning when they are still fresh and thinking about it. Okay, so this is the formula. It's just a few things that we need to um, think about when we set up our assessment activities. When we talk about inclusive assessment, um, it means that we need to include everybody. And especially when we do that. Continuous assessment, we talk about that. Assessment need to be continuous. We cannot have one assessment activity for the whole term and think that it's valid and reliable. When that specific learner maybe don't feel well that one day, then he might really not respond well to the assessment activity, and it might seem that he did not reach any outcomes. However, if we continuously assess them, then we can get a much more clearer idea of what exactly the learners know and if they have reached the outcomes. Inclusive assessment always also means that the teacher needs to reflect. I know reflection is one of the most daunting tasks. Whenever someone asks you to reflect, it always seems a bit, it's not nice to do that, and it seems a bit useless. But in fact, if we as teachers do not reflect on what we are doing in our classes every day, then how will we ever be better teachers? We need to think about what we did and make sure that we can make it better for the next time. We need to plan for diverse needs of learners, and together with that, we should use a variety of assessment strategies. Learners has different needs, different abilities, different interests and backgrounds, and all those things can determine if a learner can understand what they are supposed to do, the way that they interpret the assessment that you are using. If you have a learner in the class who don't, for instance, is a visual learner, and you always do hearing tests in the classroom, then that person will never get a chance to actually do something that he is good at. So try to vary the different types of assessment so that we can definitely accommodate all the types of learners in our class.